Sabala TV, the one that unites us.
It's such a beautiful day here in Nairobi, Kenya. And with us today here at Sabala TV, we have an amazing guest with us by the name Claire, aka Mama Ghetto. So with us today is a beautiful, poised, well-educated woman for an amazing interview. This is Sabala TV. I'm your host, Sekina Mwaka. It's such an honor to have you here today with us, Claire. I mean, when I was told I was going to interview you, I felt the jitters because I know the minute you speak to a woman who's experienced being behind a powerful man, as usually told, behind every powerful man, there's a strong woman. So I'm very honored to have you here, Claire, aka Mama Ghetto. So I got an info that is a name appointed to you by the President of Uganda. Yes, you're very much welcome here at Sabala TV. So the one thing I'd want to know before anything, I'd want to know who Claire is, her full name, her background, her hobbies, what she loves to do for fun, and her free time. So kindly introduce yourself.
I am Claire. Like you said, most people know me as Mama Ghetto, but my names are Claire Nangaja Selina. I am a Muganda woman, born and raised in Uganda, Kampala. Although my village is in a district called Mpigi district. Yeah, I am a Muganda with the clan, Mamba clan. That is it's a fish. It's a type of fish. And that's my clan. I am a graduate, a psychology degree holder. Right now I am professionally practicing psychology, community psychology. You see, Claire, aka Mama Ghetto, is a laid-back person. I'm mostly a laid-back person. My hobbies include watching TV, movies, and documentaries especially. I love watching documentaries. I love reading and writing. I write a little poetry, though I haven't really shared my work. Yeah. Another thing I like to do is dance. I love to dance. That's been dance and music. They have been a saving grace to me growing up. Music was always my go-to in times of when I'm low and in times when mood is high. Music does everything for me. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Claire. Of course, many of our guests here or our viewers are wondering, who is Claire? So Claire is Buchaman's wife, Mr. Mark Bugembe, appointed by the President of Uganda as a ghetto advisor, right? So, of course, as I mentioned earlier, being a woman behind such a powerful man, such an influential man, and such a public figure, that must have affected you in some way. So, in terms of being a woman, in terms of being a wife and a mother and juggling all that, how has it been so far? Tell us about your journey.
The journey hasn't been easy. I won't say it's been easy, but it's been worth it. Every single challenge and every single triumph comes with a lesson to learn. Before the president appointed my husband, we'd been together for about 11 to 12 years. We'd been together and we had just settled down to make a family, and the president appointed him. It was, at first, it rocked my world in so many ways. Like, I was super excited. What a great opportunity for my husband, seeing him grow, seeing him turn into something greater, and also it falls in his goals and in his dreams. On my side, it's been my children have sometimes had to share my time with other people, with my other children from the ghetto. Since I am Mama Ghetto, I do have my biological children, but I have the rest of the ghetto to mother. That is, I'm a mother to the motherless. And I've really learned a lot to be patient. To be a wife to someone like Buchaman, you have to really be patient. It is great that our goals really align so much. We have a legacy that we are building together, and so we find a way to communicate properly about it and act upon it. But in terms of family, that's been the most, trying to juggle and balance everything. It's not been easy, I won't lie, but at the moment my children have adapted and they are super proud of us. They even call us by, at home they say, Mama Ghetto president. It's a form of pride, for their parents to be in the position that we are in. And I really encourage like women out there, if your man is going up and going places, it's always good to support him other than compete with him. Sometimes the competition, naturally as human beings, competition can creep in. But if you remember your position, and he maintains his position, then you'll both go bigger places.
Of course, by just hearing that story, it moved me, because obviously it's such a lovely love story. And I would like to know, how did you and Buchaman meet? It's one of the things that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I get asked a lot about how we met, and we met at my mother's home. Back then I was having a small party at home, and my friend was a friend of a friend. That is, my friend was friends with Bobby Wine, and by then Buchaman and Bobby Wine were still together in Firebase Crew. So I invited them over, and from the day we met, like, we just connected, and the conversation was really developmental. He's always been such a support system to me as well. Always, from the very first day we met. I mean, he was like an attraction. And it's like we had already met before, and we stayed in touch I was still in school. So back then I was in school, and he would never take me out like to the clubs or going to the shows in the villages. And he was always like, just go to school. You make sure you don't waste your mom's money, because I was raised by a single mom. So he was very, very cautious about me obeying my mother and staying on track with school. And as a young girl, he was always advising me on being decent and maintaining good morals, because he's a Rasta, and I met him already moving with the Rastafari levity. So I learned a lot from him. I was learning a lot. And we stayed in touch because I was in school, in and out of school. We stayed in touch for 7 years or so, and then our relationship became serious after that. And now we've been together for 17 years, all together since we met. It is 17 years, and it has been a roller coaster of 17 years, because he's an artist, he's a Rasta, he's from the ghetto. I too am from the ghetto. I'm a product of the Firebase Crew as well. But where there's uptown, there is also downtown. So I was raised in the uptown, but in downtown. I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, the moment I came from home, I was hitting the street, the ghettos, and Buchaman inspired me on living simplicity, like living in simplicity.
Wow.
He has taught me how to, how can I put it, to take life as it comes, and always get a lesson from whatever comes your way, whether you experience something negative or positive. He always tells me there is a lesson, and if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to repeat the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a beautiful, beautiful story, Claire. I've felt like it's such an inspiration to women out there who feel like they've lost hope in terms of finding love, in terms of finding the right husband. I feel like that would be a good, inspiring story. So I get to the point where, of course, everyone who knows Buchaman notices the disability, and of course there's stigma attached to it, there's stereotype attached to it. So I'd like to know, how do you really cope with that?
For me, obviously for me it's not an issue. If it was, I wouldn't be with him. Yes. It's one thing that has never been an issue. In fact, initially when we just met, if he would ask me to pass him the slippers, I would bring 2 of them. Yeah. Forgetting that he wears one, because it wasn't really an issue. But I do have friends who always ask me, like, how do you handle that? And to me, I see Buchaman as someone who has shown, who leads with what is in his spirit, That's what the world sees. Back in Uganda, most people don't even like feel that sympathy for him, because he leads with the emotion of a strong man, of a lion, and that's been our connecting point. Buchaman once did a short documentary that was titled "Disability is Not an Inability." When I watched that documentary, I showed it to other few people in my circles that have one or any other kind of disability, and they were inspired, because this is someone who has achieved everything he has achieved despite the disability. So for me, that is a sense of admiration. I admire him for that, and more blessings to him. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that lovely story. So you brought up the Rastafarian liberty, of course, and the one thing that came up is that that's how you raised your kids. So automatically that makes them stand out in society when they go to school, of course, with the dreadlocks, but of course with how they dress and everything, to how they speak, what they eat, as you raise them as vegetarians, correct? So I would like to know, does that affect your child's upbringing in terms of living in harmony with other children in the society?
Yeah, I have seen some good and also not so good effects of that. I won't lie. For example, one of my children at school, sometimes the kids make fun of him. They make fun of his hair. But the good thing is that they have been raised that way. They haven't been turned or been converted into rastas. So they have that sense of pride in them. It is inside their spirit and in their soul. So no matter what the outside world is seeing or saying, they feel the truth in how we've raised them, and they are proud of it, and they live by the motto, be good, do good. So we've taught them that as long as what you're doing is not harming another person, it is in fact conserving nature, because if you're not eating a cow, then you're probably getting milk from it, and if you're not taking the milk, you're selling it to be able to get something else. You're using the dung as manure. So we have taught them that Rastafari is not just about believing in a spirit somewhere in the wind. It is a way of life, and when you live like this, the benefits are also evident. So they do face those struggles as Rastas, but having grown up like that, they are also equipped with the skills to maneuver and endure, and also, let me say, escape that kind of trap of discrimination. And yeah, I'm very proud of them. They're handling themselves very well, and we've also raised them to be open with us. So they whatever challenge they face, if anyone says anything negative to them, or if they feel like they're out of place, they will approach us, and we talk them through it, how to, get along with other kids. And one of my sons told me during the last holiday that his friend, he's in a Form 1, which is like senior one in Uganda. He has a friend in A level who is about 5 years older than him, was telling him that since he met him, he's not been the same because of what he talks about. Rastafari, when you meet a Rasta, what they talk about is, you will most probably be inspired. At least you will learn one or two things. So the way they speak about life, the way they speak about people and nature and God and the afterlife, everything never leaves their friends the same. My friend told me his friend who is a senior, was like, I'm glad I met you. Since I spoke with you, my life is much better. So I'm very proud of them.
Wow, that's very inspiring. I also noticed that when I interacted with the Rastafaris, I noticed the harmony that they have. They have some sense of calmness and serenity. I mean, the positivity speaks for itself. Yes, very well spoken. So, in terms of having that position as Mama Ghetto, I was appointed to you. The name was appointed to you by the President of Uganda. So, of course, that came with so much heaviness. It came with so much responsibility. What is a moment of awe that you still remember till today that really moved you when, let's say, you were doing the projects in the ghettos or helping the community? So what's a moment that stuck with you? I'm going to speak of two moments. One moment is the moment of the becoming of Mama Ghetto. The moment Mama Ghetto was put into existence, let me put it that way, was the day Buchaman was appointed as the presidential advisor. It was a moment of awe because, one, I had never seen the president salute a civilian. You know, and he stood up and saluted my husband, and I was very happy. I knew then and then that whatever, actually with that day, we went to that day saying Goliath is dead. You know, it was that kind of moment, like Goliath is dead, and whatever we've been fighting, today is the day of our own victory. And that was the one day, like, I cannot never forget. Another day that stuck with me was a not so good moment, but a moment that changed my determination to stick to the path that I am on. And that is the day I went to the ghettos to speak to women, prostitutes, those who are in the business. And you know, we are doing a lot of mindset change, but you can't really just change someone one day. So we went in for these talks, and this young lady came up to me and she was in tears. We were talking about parenting. And she confessed something to me about, I think she had gone through postpartum depression. And during that time, she let her baby cry to death. Like, she told me that she was too disconnected from the baby. She was too depressed, crying every day. And because she was living in the ghetto, she had had a C-section, and the C-section had some infection, and she wasn't getting proper treatment, and it was just too much for her. And one day the baby cried. She tried to stop the baby from crying. She hadn't eaten well, so she couldn't breastfeed. And from that day, I knew, because she was a young mom. She had her baby at 17. I had my first baby at 18. So this really hit far with me because I have been in that position of being a young mom. It's not easy. It's not easy, like raising a child when you're not emotionally ready. And that's the moment I knew that this name, Mama Ghetto, was given to me by the president, through the president of Uganda, but from God. It is something that I have to continue mentoring and inspiring the young girls in Uganda. Uganda has one of the youngest population, I think the second youngest population in the world. And we have so many young girls who are not emotionally ready for the activities that they carry on every day. And I give thanks to Jah that I have that enlightenment and the capability and the skill and the education, because the psychology degree equips me to be able to talk to someone without judging them, and to be able to listen to them without judging them, to be able to guide them. And so Mama Ghetto is not a joke. It is a serious thing, and it is an organization. I carry it on as an organization, and I am glad that I have been able to support right now a little over 100 women in terms of creating jobs for them, in terms of connecting them to the proper mental health that they need to get, and also inspiring them. A lot of women walk up to me and they just inspired by me, and that is all good. Like, it's not me, but I give thanks. And yeah, that's very well spoken. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to wrap up this interview and speak to every woman watching right now. A woman who wants to be a mother, or a woman who's already a mother, who's also in the political arena, or be it a housewife, anyone who's lost hope. I want you to speak to them.
To my fellow ladies out there, my message is watch the thoughts you put in your mind, because your thoughts will soon reflect as your actions. The reason I say this to my fellow women is that we have the power to change the narrative. Whether you're hopeless, you have the power to change the narrative by choosing different decisions. Every single decision we make every day accounts for the whole picture. We cannot have the whole picture in one day, fellow ladies, my ladies. Take it one day at a time. Have your goal and then break it down and carry on one day at a time with a positive thought. Whether you go through something negative, always endeavor to find the lesson in it. Again, our thoughts control our actions. So let us keep positive and clean things that we put into our minds.
Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you for your time and that inspiring story. That was Claire, aka Mama Ghetto, with such an inspiring story. This is Sabala TV. I'm your host, Sekina Mwaka, signing out.
Sabala TV, the one that unites us.